What if the most life-changing love story of your existence didn't begin with roses, candles, or a perfect confession, but with a hammer, some wood, and a quiet Tuesday afternoon where you were just trying to be a good friend? What if the most powerful love you will ever experience in your lifetime begins not with a grand gesture, not with a moonlit confession, not with a perfectly rehearsed set of words, but with a simple act of building something for someone who needed it? What if I told you that I didn't go looking for love that day? What if I told you that I picked up my tools, drove to a house I had been to 100 times before, and walked in with absolutely zero intention of having my entire world quietly, completely, and permanently rearranged? That is the truth. And that truth is what I want to talk to you about today. Because love, when it is real, when it is raw, when it is the kind that reaches into your chest and rearranges every single organ it touches, that love never asks your permission before it arrives. I built my friend's mom a bed. Let me say that again so you really hear it. I built it with my own 2 hands. I measured every plank. I sanded every edge until it was smooth enough that nobody would ever get hurt resting against it. I drove every nail with intention. I carried every piece of wood with care. And the entire time I was doing it, I wasn't thinking about love. I was thinking about being useful. I was thinking about showing up. I was thinking about the fact that this woman had needed something, and I had the ability to give it to her. And so I did. That is all. That is everything. That is where this story begins. Now let me tell you about love number 1. And I want you to feel this one deeply, because this is the love that most people overlook. The love that most people dismiss as ordinary. The love that the world rarely celebrates but absolutely cannot survive without. This is the love of service. This is the love that shows up in work clothes, not dress clothes. This is the love that doesn't ask, "What will I get from this?" but instead asks, "What does this person need? And how can I be the one who provides it?" When I picked up those tools, when I drove to that house, when I gave my Saturday, my energy, my skill, my time, I was practicing love in its purest and most underrated form. Service-based love is the love that says, "Your comfort matters more to me right now than my convenience." It is the love that builds things, literally and figuratively. It is the love that creates safety for another human being. And here is what is shocking about this kind of love. It changes you before it changes anything else. By the time I had finished building that bed, I had already been transformed by the act of caring for someone without expectation. And that transformation, that open, giving, generous state of heart, that is what made me available for everything that came next. Because then she said it. She looked at what I had built, really looked at it, the way people look at something when they are genuinely moved, and she said, "We should test it. Care to help?" And everything shifted. The air in the room changed. Something that had been quiet became loud. Something that had been invisible became the only thing I could see. And right there, in that ordinary room, in that ordinary house, with sawdust still on my hands and tools still on the floor, love number 2 walked through the door. Love number 2 is vulnerability. And vulnerability is terrifying. Vulnerability is the moment when a wall comes down that nobody admitted was there. Vulnerability is when someone stops performing strength and instead offers you their softness, their openness, their willingness to be seen. When she said those words, "We should test it, care to help?" she wasn't just talking about a mattress. She was saying something much braver than that. She was saying, "I see you. I trust you. I am willing to let you into a space that is private and personal and mine." Vulnerability in love is not weakness. It is the most terrifying form of courage that a human heart can practice. It is standing in front of another person with no armor and saying, "Here I am, all of me, the soft parts and the uncertain parts, and the parts I haven't shown anyone else." And when someone offers you that, when someone hands you that kind of access to their inner world, the only worthy response is to handle it with every ounce of gentleness you possess. Because vulnerability shared and respected becomes intimacy. and intimacy is where real love actually lives. Now I need to talk to you about love number 3. And this one is going to shake something loose inside of you if you let it. Love number 3 is presence. Real, undivided, completely here with you presence. In a world that is constantly distracted, constantly scrolling, constantly half somewhere else, the act of being fully present with another human being is one of the most radical and profound expressions of love that exists. When I was in that room, in that moment, there was no phone in my hand. There was no part of my mind wandering to something else. There was no future planning, no past replaying. There was only that moment, that person, that space, that feeling. Presence says, "You are worth my complete attention. Not the attention I have left over after everything else. Not the attention I give you between notifications. All of it, every drop, right now." And when two people are fully present with each other, truly, completely, undistractedly present, something almost miraculous happens. Time slows down. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. A room full of sawdust and tools becomes sacred. Presence is how ordinary moments become the ones you carry for the rest of your life. Love number 4. And please stay with me here, because this one is the one that most people are most afraid to acknowledge, is love born from crossing a boundary together. Not breaking a boundary, crossing one, willingly, together, with full awareness and full choice. There is a kind of love that only becomes possible when two people step past the familiar line that has defined their relationship and discover each other in a completely new way. My friend's mom and I had always existed on one side of a particular line. She was my friend's mother. I was her son's friend. Those were our roles. Those were our definitions. And then, in a single sentence, we both looked at that line and made a choice. And that choice, that mutual, conscious, brave decision to step into new territory together, that is its own form of love. It is the love of transformation. It is the love that says, who we were to each other before this moment was real, but who we are becoming to each other right now is also real, and I am not afraid of it. Transformative love is the love that doesn't preserve you as you are. It evolves you into something more expanded, more honest, more alive. Love number 5 is the love of being chosen. Of all the people in the world, of every single human being who could have been standing in that room on that day, she looked at me and said, "Care to help?" Not someone else, me. And being chosen, truly, specifically, deliberately chosen, is one of the most soul-altering experiences a human being can have. We walk through so much of our lives feeling interchangeable, feeling replaceable, feeling like we are just one option among many. And then someone looks directly at you, not past you, not around you, directly at you, and selects you, specifically, intentionally. And in that selection, they are saying something enormous. They are saying, of everyone available to me, you are the one I want here. You are the one I trust with this. You are the one whose presence I am choosing. Being chosen by the right person, in the right moment, changes the way you understand your own worth. It reminds you that you are not ordinary, that you are not interchangeable, that you are someone worth selecting, worth trusting, worth inviting into the most private spaces of another person's world. And love number 6, the final love, the one that ties every other love together, is the love of memory, of the stories we build that outlast the moments themselves. That bed I built it with wood and nails and time. But what got built alongside it, without my knowledge, without my planning, without my permission, was a story, a memory, a moment so specific and so alive that it will never fully leave me. And that is what love does at its most powerful. It builds something that doesn't decay. The wood of that bed may splinter someday, the nails may rust, the frame may weaken. But the memory of what happened in that room, the sawdust, the tools, the shift in the air, the sentence that changed everything, that is permanent. Love, at its deepest, is an act of construction. It builds something inside of you that no amount of time or distance or change can fully dismantle. You carry it. You carry the people. You carry the moments. What if I told you that love, real, breathtaking, soul-shaking love, doesn't knock on your front door wearing a tuxedo? What if it sneaks in through the back, wearing sawdust on its sleeves, carrying the weight of someone else's need on its shoulders, asking nothing in return? What if the moment that rewired your entire heart wasn't planned, wasn't scripted, wasn't Instagram-worthy, but it was the most real thing you had ever felt in your entire life? What if helping someone build a bed, just 4 walls, a frame, a mattress, became the foundation of something so much bigger, so much deeper, so much more terrifying and beautiful than anything your heart had ever dared to hold? Stay with me, because what happened next changed everything I ever believed about love, loyalty, and the dangerous, gorgeous space between a favor and a feeling. Choose to serve with love. Choose to be present with love. Choose to be brave enough to be vulnerable with love. Because when you do, when you really truly commit to love as a practice, as a discipline, as a daily act of courage, you will find that love finds you back every single time. In the most unexpected rooms, with sawdust on your hands, you carry the feeling of being fully present with another soul in a space where something real was happening. That is love. That is the truest definition I have ever found. So when I think about that day, when I think about a young man who picked up his tools and went to do a favor and came home fundamentally changed, I think about how love never announces itself in advance. It never sends a warning. It never gives you time to prepare your defenses. It just finds you in the middle of your ordinary Tuesday, in the middle of your act of service, in the middle of the most regular afternoon of your life, and it says, quietly, gently, completely, here, this, now, pay attention. Something real is happening. What I want you to take from this story, what I need you to carry out of this room today, is not a scandal, not a surprise, not a raised eyebrow. What I want you to carry is this: love is everywhere you are willing to be fully present. Love lives inside your willingness to serve without expectation. Love lives in the courage it takes to be vulnerable with another human being. Love lives in the moment when 2 people look at each other and make a choice, a real, conscious, brave choice to step into new territory together. Love lives in being chosen. Love lives in the memories that outlast every physical thing you will ever build. You may never build a bed for someone, but every single day, you are building something for the people around you. You are building trust, or you are eroding it. You are building safety, or you are removing it. You are building memories that will last, or you are letting moments pass without ever really living inside them. Choose to build with love.